Hey guys, I want to talk to y'all a little bit about this crusher lures, finesse jig I've been using a lot. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you something about this jig. It's pretty special. You can do a lot of things with this jig, right? It's not like super finessey, something you throw out really deep, and catch deep fish with. Little small light wire hook and all that good business. There's a time and place for all that, but this is the exact jig. Whoop, let me get it hooked off my phone cord. That's the exact jig I was using yesterday in the videos I posted. Now I didn't catch a lot of fish, but I caught, and I haven't trimmed the weed guard up. I haven't done anything with this jig other than put a little speed crawl trailer on it. So I'm on the Watts bar yesterday, and I'm flipping around, flipping a big jig a little bit, a big brush hog a little bit, and I'm not not getting bit. So I thought, well, let me try, something a little more compact, and maybe I'll get some bites. I didn't fish for about 3 hours yesterday anyway, but usually I can figure something out pretty fast, pretty quick. I couldn't get them to hit a chatterbait. I couldn't get them to hit a spinnerbait. Anything moving, I couldn't get them to hit. It's post cold front. And I just kind of went through the motions. I tried to jerk bait a little bit. Could see some fish suspended on active target. Jerked the jerk bait through them. They would follow it, but I couldn't make them bite it. I couldn't make them react. They weren't just running at it. They would just ease up behind it and look at it, and then they would turn and go away. Anything I did, jerk, pause, it didn't seem to matter. They just did not want anything moving. So, I reached in the box and I pulled out a Crusher Lures heavy finesse jig. This jig's green pumpkin's got a little bit of red in it because we have some sun. It looks like a lot of red on that way that phone's shining on it, but it's not. It's just a little bit of red. I got a little trailer on it, which also has got a little tiny bit of red in it. But the trailer itself is not green pumpkin. I think it's like Cali 420, if you know that color, California 420. That's kind of the color it is. I'm not sure if that's what color it is, but that's what it looks like to me. I've had it in the box for a long time. Just something I jerked out, threw something together real quick for a Watts bar. Anyway, you guys, I don't know if you've seen the videos I posted or not, but I was actually flipping this jig under the docks, with 20-pound Seaguar line, a heavy action 7'6" Pride rod, and a Blues skipping reel. So, the drag's cranked down on it. There's no drag to it. And I hit a couple of those fish really hard. Caught one pretty good one. The other one actually jerked him out of the water to me, and that's probably why I lost him. Is probably clamped up here on the jig head, and I jerked, and fish flew out of the water there a second after I jerked, and I just probably didn't get a hook in him. Nothing to do with cutting the weed guard down or anything. If you're going to throw this jig deep, you want to cut that weed guard down. If you're going to be flipping with it like I was, or flipping brush or anything like that, you probably want to spread that weed guard out a little bit like that, so you're not getting hung up so much. But you still want to trim it just a little bit. I just didn't trim this jig. But the main reason I wanted to shoot this video right here is to show you guys that you can do, just because it's a finesse jig and you roll up on some docks or you roll up on some wood, don't be afraid to flip that thing in there. Round head jig, heavy finesse jig, yes, but it's got a really strong, get up here where you can see it, really strong hook in it. It's not a real heavy wire hook, but it's really strong. I mean, when I can sit back on a fish, and trust me, I broke a lot of rods doing this. When I can set the hook on a fish like I did yesterday, and those fish weighing 3 to 5 pounds, The one may have been a little over 5 pounds. It may not look like it in the video, but I'll assure you he was, or she was. And you can jerk a fish out of the water, and you're not, stretching that hook out or bending that hook out. That's a pretty dadgum stout hook. Now this is, like I said, this is not a heavy wire hook. If you can see that, my phone won't hardly show it. But I would say it's kind of a medium wire hook, but it is a Gamakatsu hook, super sharp and super strong. I kind of wouldn't have thought it. Normally I'm throwing a finesse jig and I'm out there fishing, 8, 10, 15, 20 foot deep, hopping it, dragging it across the rocks, across the humps, whatever. Well, the only thing I had in my boat was these jigs, or like a 3/4 ounce big obnoxious dang jig for Okeechobee or something. Not something I would normally throw in Tennessee or even in Oklahoma for that matter. Just about anywhere other than Florida. So I grabbed this, had a couple packs of them, grabbed this and flipped it around. It didn't take me just a minute, and I got a bite on it, and I missed the first bite thinking, what's up? But I think that first bite was a smallmouth, probably a big smallmouth. He felt heavy, but I didn't get a hook in him, at all. He was quicker than I was. But that's how it goes. We're fishing post-front conditions. Fish are a little bit with lethargic. The water temperature was like 66 degrees, which is plenty warm enough. But we had just had that front, pass through a day ago. And those fish really wasn't in the mood to eat. I could tell that by looking at the bait that was swimming down. I've never seen shad swim down the shoreline like this. They were underwater. You could see them. They were in about a foot of water and just easing up and down the bank. Clouds of them, They weren't breaking the surface. I don't know what the heck they were doing. Maybe there's a shad spawn. Maybe. I was there in the afternoon, so I don't know. No doubt there probably is. But they were kind of on the seawalls a little bit, if you will, rocky. They had some rock seawalls there, some riprap seawalls, and you had some concrete seawalls. Seen them on both. But it just schools of them, probably 4 or 5 foot in a circle, and they'd be going up and down the shoreline. You could see them. The water was dirty, but you could still see the black cloud of them. You know what I mean? They wasn't in 6, 8, 10 inches of water, maybe a foot. That's where they were. Coincidentally, that's where I was flipping this little dude, and that's where I was getting bit on this little dude on the docks, which is the only cover the bass had. Now, there was some trees laying out there. If you've ever been to Watts Bar, lots of trees laying off the bank, sitting anywhere from 6 inches of water out to 7, 8, 10 foot of water, hanging over the water. I never got bit in any of those. I don't understand that. There should have been some fish in those. But if there were, they didn't bite anything. I threw a chatterbait around them a lot. I threw a little jig around, threw a brush hog in them, throw some other baits in them, and it just didn't work. I was only there for like 3 hours, and I put this together and started pitching it on the boat docks. And I caught one offshore on this in about 6 foot of water in the brush pile. And the other 2 were on the docks, particularly on the walkways of the docks up shallow. One of them was on the end of the dock, so I guess I caught 4. One of them was on the end of a boat dock, but only in about 2 foot of water. So, in my mind, the fish are shallow. They're wanting something small and finessey, short, compact, and that's why I picked this Crusher Lures heavy finesse jig up and started pitching around. It wasn't long till I got a bite and I caught a fish. Until that time, I was zeroed. I had nothing. May go back in the morning and expand on that a little bit if I feel like it. If I wake up early enough and I feel like it, I got to go work tomorrow night. So who knows what I'll do. But anyway, I'd advise you guys, if you like to fish, you like to throw a jig, this is a good, great, actually really great crossover jig for fishing brush, timber, logs, stumps, back in the flats, whatever. You can still get them on this jig, and it's got a heavy enough hook that it's going to hold them, So I can't say enough about it. Really, it's small enough that you're going to penetrate the fish out deep, if you're throwing it out deep, or, of course, up shallow with a big 7.5 foot heavy action flipping rod like I did today. You guys probably seen the video, and I'm not trying to hide anything. That's a bad dude right there. I've caught a lot of fish on that jig since I partnered with Crusher Lures, and they've got a bunch of other lures that I'm going to start going through and showing you guys too as soon as I get a chance. I work too much anymore. I just can't hardly do it. But there that is. If you want to try them, try them. If you don't. A lot of people make finesse jigs, but there's only one Crusher Lures finesse jig. That's a fish catching fool. I'm here to tell you, you can flip it, you can pitch it, you can cast it, you can do anything with it. So that's my tip of the day, I guess. See y'all later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.